Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 One Club story from Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. It's part 138 today, and just look at the top of the Premier League table. It has tightened up badly. Tottenham struggling, albeit they're 2-0 up with the latest score about an hour and a half into their game. But we have got big games coming up now. City away in 6th, but only 7 points behind us. Champions 4 times in a row, United. They are 4 points behind us. We go away to them. And then it's City away again 3 days after that in the Carabao Cup. But we won't get to see that one today. So 4 of our next 5 games are against City or United. It's going to be a very difficult spell. The January transfer window is open. There are injuries creeping in. Arland the latest to fall. And of course, we've still got those work permit issues, which means one of our best strikers can't actually get on the field at the moment. So if you're looking forward to seeing what happens today, whether we can get towards the top of the table and maybe cause an almighty surprise with a slightly thinner squad, then please do put a thumbs up on it and subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. You can find some of the other key playlists in the eye above, including the top 3 series, as well as the Twitch channel, football podcast and merchandise store too. And you can support the show as a channel member by clicking the join button down below. But this is all about big games away from home. We have struggled on the road in recent months, but we've had some good results in recent weeks. We've finally started to score goals, and getting a few people tied down to new contracts seems to have worked a treat. So let's go and have a look first at the squad, because I need to show you the latest update. A few of the big boys still waiting for their deals, but most crucially, Carlos Torres has signed a new deal, and 110 grand a week is pretty reasonable for the goal output he's producing. We've also got tied down Hanifan, Peebles and Harrison until 2040. Torres, he's till 2041. So based on that, the signs are that we're going in the right direction, but I worry with these lads all having 18 months left, will one of them get tempted away by a silly offer this January? That's going to be the next question for us to answer. For now though, let's go and have a look at the schedule and what's been happening since you were last with me. Because as you can see, the dressing room atmosphere has largely recovered, and that partly due to Hanifan ending his unhappiness and signing a new deal. But let's go and have a look at the scores, because it has been a very good December for this football club. Firstly, we bounced back from that Real Madrid game with a 4-0 win at home to Villa. Fresh from his new contract, Carlos Torres got one, as did Moreira early doors, and Tyrese Ricketts with a brace, one of them an absolute gift. But in the first half, we'd wrapped up the win, which we haven't done often this season. Into December, a 3-0 win followed away at Wolves. Very different game this one, 2 late goals after a pretty nervy game. Mailton, Torres and Ricketts again. A 1-0 win against Arsenal away from home. We got absolutely pummeled in this game. John Moore, as you can see, the joint best rating on the pitch, and Azoma came off the bench, scored a header in the last 5 minutes. We didn't deserve the win, but it was a crucial one in the context of our month. A 5-1 win followed away at Karabakh. Despite an early goal against, we did look like we were going to struggle for a bit. I got angry after 20 minutes. I went attacking. I threw everyone on attacking duties and went for it, and it turned the game on its head. Rodrigo De Vita equalised from a set piece. Ian Watts put a screamer in the top corner on a rare start. Then Sasa Ostrakovic with a brace and an own goal rounded it off. A 4-0 win at home to Crystal Palace followed. 2 for Ricketts again. 1 for Stamatis, who won Young Player of the Month in the Premier League. And Carlos Torres, of course, opened the scoring. Before a 3-0 win at Burnley in the Carabao Cup. Late goals again, this time for Coronel, De Vita and Mailton. We then had a cagey 1-1 draw at home to Liverpool. It looked like we'd thrown it away in the 88th minute. But again, we then went gun-ho and equalised in the 90th. Plenty of times that went wrong earlier in the season, but on this occasion, it very much went right. A 6-0 win at home to Everton on Boxing Day was probably the easiest of the lot. Moreira got a hat-trick, Torres, Mailton and Azoma all got one apiece. As to be honest, the visitors didn't even put up a fight. They were absolutely pathetic. So this month is going to be a much bigger test of our credentials. 2 away games against City, 1 against United and 1 against Spurs in the Premier League 2, the leaders. But home games against Sheffield United and Watford, who, if you remember, 2 of the sides to frustrate us with 1-0 away defeats earlier in the year, could make this a make or break month. If we manage to stay unbeaten or anywhere near that, pick up a number of good results, we will be in the title race and we hopefully will be in a cup final too. but it could also go very wrong. We fell down to 6th or 7th quickly enough earlier in the season, and although we're up in 2nd place, it is tight and it is condensed. Even Chelsea have recovered up to 7th place, and only 11 points separate the top 7. We've drawn PSG in the last 16 of the Champions League, a slightly easier FA Cup tie on paper against Tranmere. But let's go and get straight into the first game against City as we try our best to stay in the Premier League title race. Tottenham 2-0 up against Palace. They're going to go up to 45 points. But can we stay within 3? Or will we start to fall away? We've also got to bear in mind it's 2 games in 3 days. How do we manage the squad for that? It is a virtually impossible task. Let's see what the fitness standards are like. They should be alright because we've had 5 or 6 days off. And they are, in fairness. There's nothing wrong there. Zaruk and Jura becoming an absolute star partnership. We've got this weird battle in the holding role as well, because Andreka and De Vita seem to be pushing each other on like nothing I've seen before. They're the best 2 trainers at the club every week. They're both now up to 3-star ability. Andreka is coming on leaps and bounds, playing really well. De Vita likewise, and contributing going forward. He's improving endlessly. Mentally and physically, he's a monster. Technically, he's alright in the key areas, but they're really starting to impress and improve. So definitely pleased with those 2. Arlando has picked up his injury. He drops out of the squad entirely. But it's just in time because Carlos Martin and Danny Harrison are both on their way back from injury. Peebles will drop out the squad as a result. And this is the 11 we've gone for. We've got John Moore between the sticks, Chauvin and Delgado the fullbacks, with Zaruk and Jura as centre-half. And Andreka, Stamatis, who's really improving, with Moreira and Mailton make up the midfield diamond. And Mailton coming back into a purple patch. He seems to be one of those players, when he's match fit, he's unstoppable. When he's not, he's absolutely appalling. But at the moment, he's in the form of his life, and he's improving no end too. We've got Azoma and Torres up front. I'm umming and ahhing about Ricketts, but Azoma having his first good spell for a while, and he is part of another problem we've got coming up. The reason for that is we've mentioned him, and we've mentioned one of our best players, Zaruk. Well, if we skip ahead maybe a week or 2, up to the FA Cup tie, they're all going off to AFCON. Up with Kagiso Maya, who's in the youth team as well. But we are losing Azoma and Zaruk for a month. And that is something, I've got to be honest, I hadn't even thought about or planned for. So maybe we'll have to think about a loan deal. Or will the return of Harrison from injury cover that? I don't know. But either way, they're going to be big misses. So we've got to make the most of them while they're still here. Into the game we go. Is City v Hemel. 2 of the top 6 going head to head. And this could be crucial in a title race and even the race for the Champions League. Well, we've played City on here already this season. Tonali is back into the starting lineup this time though. Phil Foden still in there, of course. On the bench, I don't see Lewis Cook this time, but they've got some really good players. Aaron Moore, Liam Jones, the centre-halves, both being linked with moves to other clubs in Europe. But how will we get on against Manchester City as we head into the first half to find out? Through the tunnel interview we go. Anything other than a defeat is a good result, but to stay in the title race probably needs to be a win. Well, a very quiet half an hour here and not a great start for us in the other games. Spurs we knew were winning. United and Liverpool both got early goals away from home. This is the stage of the season where you're playing the tough games and even getting draws against the top sides. They're all winning theirs and it just starts to make those unassailable leads. That's where the issue starts to come. But at half time, only 1 shot on target, that for the host City. It's not been a good game. It's actually been very similar to the Liverpool one we had 2 games ago. Even the Real Madrid one in the last episode, where it's very cagey, it's very tight. And I think it's just because all these sides are so evenly matched that you don't know what you're going to get. But at the moment, we've stayed in a game. If we need to chase it late on, we can do. Chelsea have taken a lead in their game as well. So that top 7 is getting even tighter. What are we going to be able to achieve here? We've had our first shot on target, but we've not really offered much more. And with a lot of tired legs, we've got to think about the United game. Because in 3 days' time, they're going to cause us problems. German Moreira on a booking had a shocking game too. Miguel Coronel is on for him. At left back, Delgado struggling. Going to replace him with Danilo Jose. And then up front, Torres having a rare poor game. So on comes Tyrese Ricketts. A quarter of the game to go. It is 0-0 at the City of Manchester Stadium. We need to get a goal if we want to stay in the title race. And at the moment, it doesn't look like it's coming. 2 minutes to go. I've chased these games before and it's gone wrong. It's been a terrible match. It's 0-0. Did we actually see a highlight? I'm just trying to think. I don't think we saw a highlight in the whole match. 0-0, one of the worst games I could have shown you, but we've managed to get points. And this is always the risk when you show the top sides. It becomes cagey, it becomes condensed. Games between the top 6 are very rarely good. And we've proved that point again today by getting a drab 0-0 draw. Might be a good point though. Let's see how many recover for the United match. Well, the vultures are starting to swarm. We are getting offers galore for both our senior players and a lot of our younger ones too. So going to be really interesting to see how they manage for the rest of the month. But for now, we need to get into our big game at United. And I do worry about the state of fitness. Who is going to survive? We've been 3 days. All of the other top sides won. Only us and City held each other to a draw. That means we're now 5 points off the top. But this month's about staying in touch. If we can go away to City, United and Spurs and still be in with a chance come February, then maybe we will have a chance. But probably depends on who leaves the club. Let's get through the tactical meeting. Lots of changes being recommended. That does not bode well. Who's fit? Who's not? I don't know if I want to see this. And we've got a League Cup semi-final on Tuesday as well. Some slight issues then. Virtually the whole team is not fit. We're going to have to rotate because otherwise we're going to pick up injuries. We've got another big game Tuesday. So the plan is we're going to have to rotate for this one. We'll do the full 11 for Tranmere in next weekend in the Cup. And in the 2 legs of the City game, hopefully we can play our first team, bar those that are at AFCON. We're still without Harrison and without Martin, who are recovering after injury. But this is the side we've managed to chuck together. And it's only really De Vita, who is one of the fit ones, and Moreira, who I'm a little worried about that have to start. John Moore is the first choice keeper, but Jose, Peebles, Hannafan and Striker are a completely changed back four. And Drecker keeps his place with De Vita and Coronel in the middle, and Moreira further forward behind Strakovic and Ricketts. I'm tempted when we go into it to maybe play the flat 3 in midfield, and I probably am going to try that. But let's go and head to Old Trafford. It's going to be a very difficult game, and I think this is where our lack of squad depth starts to show. 5 changes for United, who have a little more squad depth than us. They bring in the likes of Ignacio, one of our head coach heroes. Makoko still going strong. Tavares, Musiala, part of the attacking line too. They've got a new goalkeeper this season who's done really well. They're a top side, and this is going to be tough for us. By contrast, we've got Ian Watts on the bench, who isn't quite Premier League standard. I think that's fair to say. So let's ask the lads to prove a point. We are going to make the tactical tweak. De Vita will play in the middle of a midfield 3. Moreira and Coronel will flank either side. I'm not sure whether that's going to help us at all, but let's head into the first half and find out. Well, 5 minutes in, and it doesn't look like we're having a very good day here, because Ndreka, one of the ones that had to stay in, has now picked up a bruised shin. Should be alright to carry on, but we're getting warnings about him. And even worse than that, Tavares and Marazin have just run through the middle of our team and scored a goal with consummate ease. It is 1-0 with 6 minutes gone. Tavares, we've taken the mick out of his finishing here before. He's not done too badly there. I think this is where the season starts to go wrong. We're just not a strong enough squad, I'm afraid. The only solace we can take, as you can see in the middle of the screen, is that Spurs are losing away from home too. We've now got an injury to Peebles. I mean, this is just misfortune now. City lead. Spurs have equalised. Liverpool level with Newcastle. And we're all over the place. As at the back, Londono throws. Hannafan heads away. We are clinging on for dear life at the moment as Hopper shoots just over. This could get very ugly the way things are going. Spurs, I think we're about to take the lead, but it looks like it's been chalked off as Moretti is coming forward for United again. So Makoko, playing off the right-hand side, switches it from the centre circle to Musiala. And Londono, through to Hopper. 2 in the middle if he can find them. Cuts back to Musiala, blocked to Tavares. That's unfortunate. Striker made a good sliding block, but it just fell for the striker. Taps in for 2-0. And we're 10 to the break. We are not going to get any points out of this game. City going to get 3 out of theirs. Spurs, you would think, are going to go on to get a win now. And Liverpool, I'm sure, will find something too. Although Watford have just scored a second against Spurs. That is the first time in my life I have celebrated a Watford goal. Let's have a look at how the injuries are getting on. Ndreka's struggling. He's got to come off. It's going to be... Do I risk any more injuries now? Let's bring on Ian Watts. I know it's stupid, but we've lost this game. We need to protect people. Watts will go up as the number 10. He's done it a few times this year. And in fact, I need to change the tactic back for this. De Vita, German Moreira, Coronel and Ian Watts. Second half, 2-0 down. Let's just limit the damage now. well, an hour gone, and we've got to start thinking about midweek, knowing that we're not going to get a result here. So I'm going to take German Moreira off. He will be replaced by... Oh, there's no one fit. I'm going to have to bring Azoma on because he's going on international duty and I want to protect him. But I've got no idea what team we can play here. Ricketts can sort of play midfield. Ostrakovic can't. Ian Watson, Azoma, not really. So against my better judgment, I think Ostrakovic is going to play centre midfield. And I've got no explanation as to how that will work. We also really could do with taking off Peebles. Delgado will come on for him. With half an hour to go, this is a makeshift team. We're short in certain areas and it's showing badly as Moretti gives it to Mas from a free kick. Without a midfield, we could really collapse here, but I have to hope the gamble's worthwhile. I hope that later in the month we then win other games when there's one a week. We win other big matches. We get to the League Cup final. It has to be made worthwhile as Ricketts. Back to Delgado. Through ball to Ricketts again. Could we cause a comeback? Could we cause a shock? Ostrakovic from centre midfield may have just found his new position. Makes a late run onto the end of a Ricketts cross. And he's got all the ability in the world to finish. Imagine we nick something out of this. It would be the most incredible outcome. As Spurs go level again, it's a Manchester United corner. I think it might be game over now. Inacio, a hero for so many years in the head coach, has unfortunately put our chance of a point to the sword. As Londono gives it to Fati, this could get bad now because Poby to the edge of the box, no midfielder with him. Watts chases back and there's a sliding challenge as Ostrakovic brings it away. The positive is, we've got 4 strikers on the pitch now, chasing everything. And Azoma forces that one back to the keeper. Clearance as far as Poby. Of course, the negative side of that is they've got a good midfield, and we haven't really got one at all. Inacio to Londono. Chip forward towards Tavares. Hanifan heads away. Ostrakovic down for Ricketts. Look how advanced he is. Leaves a massive vacant region in midfield as Delgado gives it to Striker. At least we're putting up a fight. I'm pretty pleased watching this. As Striker carries it still to Azoma. Turns his man. There's 3 in the middle. Of course, Ostrakovic one of them. What's another? Ricketts the third. Completely unmarked. And that is the benefit of having 3 or 4 strikers making runs into the box. Because we're doing what Vergis United used to do. Chuck all the strikers on, get in the middle, and there won't be enough defenders to mark you. Liverpool have taken a lead in their game, so we could really do with a point. But to be honest, I would have taken a -1 goal difference at half-time. And it looks like that's what it's going to be. Spurs have lost in the 93rd minute. This is getting a little better for us now, because some of the teams have dropped points. And it's just condensing that table yet further as Musiala puts Moretti in down the right. Last minute of stoppage time and United have gone and got a 4th goal. They've deserved it on the balance of play. It's been a crazy game. But to be fair, we just need to get midfielders. This is what happened when we sold Leacock, when we loaned out Rojas, and when we loaned out Wilson, and when we loaned out Luiz. We knew the risk was we were going to be a bit light this year. But it's going to be worth it next season. What we've got to do is stay in this top 4. Well, first things first, Ledian and Dreka only out for a couple of days. That's a good sign. There are some shock results in the Premier League. Most importantly, Spurs lost at Watford, which means the top of the table is now nuts. City are just clinging on 9 points behind in 6th. We're down to 5th, but only 5 points off the top. United, the champions, making a comeback. Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs all flying too. This is becoming a very tense Premier League season. All of them averaging 2 points a game or more. And maybe when you look at what happened a couple of years ago when we went to that final day and there were 3 or 4 points separating the top 3 or 4, maybe that's what's going to happen again here. I hope for our sake we can keep ourselves in it, because if the title is won in the 70s, we may have a chance. Hopefully we can avoid any more injuries in midfield, but for now the focus turns to cups because we face Manchester City in 2 legs of the Carabao Cup. I'd expect us to be a little stronger with our first team there. We've then got Tranmere, we've got Sheffield United, and crucially Spurs away. We're going to get through to the end of the month. If it looks like there's going to be a lot of transfer news, we'll come back. If not, we'll leave it a little bit later. But for now, the plan is we will return for Everton and transfer deadline day. If you're looking forward to that, then please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. You can find links in the eye above to our top 3 playlist, the Twitch channel, the football podcast and merchandise store too, as we head into a crucial couple of months of the season before what on paper is a relatively friendly finish. Above my head now is the top 3 playlist. Please do give it a try if you haven't already. And I'll see you again here next time as we try to avoid losing any more stars, as we did of course for massive money last January. I'll see you there.